Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the week of September 22nd. We're going to jump right in here. You have this balance card. Yeah, I mean, you're a Libra. You have this reframe card as well. It is an excellent time to reframe things. We have this eclipse happening on Sunday before the week starts on the 21st in Virgo. But I do feel that, part of this eclipse could be about, changing your story. And so, if things are not going as according to plan, or if things are not going how you want them to go, reframing your story to be more positive, obviously, would be a good idea. You already have like one of the better readings this week. The readings this week have been a little bit sketchy, to say the least. And like everybody has had the Tower, for example, except for you so far. Although knock on wood, I don't want to speak too soon here, Libra. Again, yours is actually very positive. So I do like to see that for you, Libra. You start here with the Seven of Cups, the Star, and the Four of Cups. This is coming up in the area of general. I can't talk today. Your general energies for the week. We're going to mix this reading up a little bit, so each row is going to represent something different than it normally does, except for the last one. But the Seven of Cups, again, with that reframe card, I feel that you need to kind of like pick the reality you want to live in and start telling that story with this card. You even have the Four Wands here, which is great for love, but it's also just what you commit to in general. So I would make sure that you are committing to the positive story in life with the Seven of Cups, and I would tell that story because that's probably what you're going to get here. The other thing with the Seven of Cups is, again, I would definitely commit to something, right? The thing with the Seven of Cups is sometimes I feel that we can have a dream basically with this card, and we're kind of when we dream it, we are in this area of looking at the good things and bad things that could happen if we start the dream or if we start working on whatever it is. But the trick with the Seven of Cups is we just have to get started, right? We just have to commit to whatever it is that we're trying to create. Because again, the Seven of Cups can cause us to overthink because, it's like we think of the good things, but we also think of some bad things that could happen if we started something or if we dated a person, for example. But again, really, we don't know until we do it. And so the Seven of Cups says you have to find out. You have the Star. There has been a lot of Star energy this week, I will say, and you're no exception. So the Star is very good. It's a card of hope, faith, renewal. This eclipse is great for healing or resting, relaxing, recovering. This right here is a pool of universal consciousness that she's about to get into, and it can just represent kind of settling in to the energy and resting, relaxing, recovering, healing, which I would do all that. I feel like you need to realize that something is possible here, Libra. She's pouring this water onto the earth here, and it's flowing out into the world. The Star kind of says that, what's possible for one person is possible for everyone. That's what this water right here represents. So I feel like some of you are trying to do something in life, and maybe you don't think it's possible, but it actually is. And I would do that. The other thing with that reframe card, the Star, sometimes I think we have to zoom out. We have to look at the big picture of what we are trying to accomplish. I also feel with the Star, it would be a great time for you to look at everything that you have accomplished, because I feel that will give you the confidence necessary to commit to whatever you're committing to here. It's like sometimes I think we don't realize how much we have done in life, but like once we see it, it makes whatever we're about to do a lot easier. And I feel the Star is encouraging you to do that. You have the Four Cups. Four Cups can represent like past disappointments. He's received something like 3 times before, but he's been disappointed. That's why he's not accepting this fourth opportunity here. If you're getting any opportunities this week that look like something from the past, I feel that you need to realize that you know enough. You've learned the lessons is sometimes what I feel like the Four of Cups is saying. It's like you have learned what to do. So all you have to do is apply what you learned to this one cup, and it will be successful. I don't even think this is necessarily love for you. There's definitely love here, Libra, and that could be part of it. But I feel the Seven of Cups Star is like much bigger picture. It's kind of like your entire life, everything that you're doing. And so, that's what I feel here. I also feel this sense of, it's like, what to do, right? Sometimes I think we can come up with a big idea. It's like we do know the steps we have to take, but the once we start thinking about the steps, it's like imagine this is the opportunity. It's like it starts growing. It starts getting a little bit overwhelming, and I feel a little bit of that like overwhelmed feeling where it's like maybe you're trying to do something like big, like start a business, or maybe you want to write a book or make a change with your life. It's like as you think about it, I think it gets too big, if that makes sense. And I feel like the reading is just saying, again, just take the first small step. Don't look at it as this like big, huge thing that you have to do. Because I feel what you'll realize is you are much more prepared than you realize. But again, you're not gonna realize that unless you get started. So that's what I'll say there. In your next row, you also have this card that says accept help. So it would be a good time to accept help. With the Seven of Cups, you have the Ten of Swords, a very common energy during eclipses. During eclipses, we typically realize that we have to remove something from our lives. That's what we do pretty much with every eclipse, or I should say every eclipse season. We have 2 eclipses at a time, basically, and we just had the Pisces eclipse, and now we're having the Virgo eclipse. So, at this time, you could just be seeing something that no longer serves you, that you have to cut out. The funny thing is about this, this eclipse season is I get a very matter-of-fact energy from this eclipse season, which Virgos, can be very matter-of-fact, right? And, so it seems to me like people are just saying, like, this thing I do doesn't serve me any longer, I'm going to get rid of it. So I feel it's just very cut and dry type of energy. And again, the Ten of Swords can be a blessing in disguise, so it's probably a good thing. Yet with the Star, you have the Knight of Swords, like your thinking is getting ahead of you, or your mind is getting too far ahead. I don't really feel this is bad, but just, something to pay attention to. It's like maybe you're getting a little bit ahead of yourself here. And like I said, starting small on something that you want to do is the solution. Again, I go back and forth on the Knight of Swords. Sometimes I feel like he's being too hasty. He's rushing something, and that's the problem. Sometimes I feel good about the Knight of Swords because, he can represent momentum and building momentum. For you, I feel like you need to build momentum, and I also feel like you have to start where you're at. It's kind of what it's saying. It's saying don't let your mind run away with your plans. Don't allow it to do this thing where it's making something too big. Where you get overwhelmed by thinking about all the things you have to do, and start small. With the Four of Cups, you have the Death card again, very common during eclipses. During eclipse seasons, we see a lot of death energy because we're just going through changes. We're just going through transformations and personal transformations. We're coming up with new ideas, especially you air signs right now with Uranus and Gemini. That is going to, your brain is probably on fire, and it probably will be, and for the next, until 2033 when Uranus leaves Gemini. Uranus will leave Gemini in 2032 for a short period of time. It will enter into Cancer, but it is going to retrograde back into Gemini. But, again, so, technically 2033. But this is, I think this is good for air signs. I feel these ideas will be very good. Next, we're going to look at messages from your future self. You have this Face Your Fears card and this Accept Help card. Yeah, definitely a good thing. The Face Your Fears always reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune. You don't have the Wheel of Fortune here, but I'm just saying, I kind of get a little bit of that energy. The Wheel of Fortune has the snake on the side of the wheel. And the whole point of the Wheel of Fortune is that we have to, the snake represents fears, and the wheel is like a portal. And snakes are guardians of portals. So we have to face a fear to get something we want. And I feel like that's what this is saying. I do feel it would be an amazing time to ask for help, obviously. It's like sometimes you can't do everything on your own. And so getting help or guidance or using a mentor, you even have the King of Swords here, would be a very good thing. You have the Nine of Pentacles, the Four Wands, and the Knight of Cups. Yeah, really wouldn't be a Libra reading without either the Nine of Pentacles or the Seven of Pentacles, right? You always get this card, or the Seven of Pentacles, or both in your readings. The Nine of Pentacles is like gratitude, luxuries, being in that space of gratitude. I would also say focus. You end with the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is laser-like focus. She has this falcon right here, which represents the fact that she is training her focus, and you have the Star. These are all cards of like picking one thing to focus on, and then that's it. That's what you make happen, right? And so I feel developing that mindset would be very good for you. One thing I will say is money looks really good this week for almost everybody. So, Nine of Pentacles could say that you're making financial changes, or you're doing things to improve your finances, which would be great. The other thing is she has 6 pentacles over here, 3 pentacles over here. So what this represents is that she's willing to give 3 pentacles worth of anything. It doesn't have to be money. It could be her time, effort, and energy and attention to anything in her life, but she always keeps more than enough to herself. And like, I think that Libras are very giving. So again, I would, I think this week it might be better for you to make sure you're not over giving to to anything, right? Period. And to make sure that you're keeping enough energy for yourself. Again, this eclipse in Virgo is kind of all about health, and part of being healthy is maintaining your energy levels. And so I would make sure you're doing that. You have the Four of Wands, can be marriage, and you do have a little bit of love here. So if you're attracting love, definitely could lead to marriage in the future. I feel more importantly, this is about what you commit to. And I feel like you need to make that deep commitment. Even the Star card, she is just dipping her toes in the water here. She's not really getting into the pool. So sometimes I feel that the Star even says that we have to go into the deep end. We have to commit 1,000% to something that we are doing in life. And the Four of Wands is very similar. The thing about the Four of Wands is a card of freedom. So if you cross through this threshold here and get to the other side, it's like you will be set free. So whatever you're thinking about doing this week, making that full commitment to the change and really going for it is going to be the thing that sets you free. And I feel that's what this card wants. You have the Knight of Cups. Definitely could be love, knight in shining armor coming in for you. You have the King of Swords next to it. So it could be someone who's like older than you or more mature, or, could just be a very mature person in general, which obviously a mature person, that would be good, right? You don't want to be out there dating these immature people, of course, Libra. But, could be a little bit of a dreamer as well with the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups could also be your dream or whatever you're trying to accomplish. We are in a dreamy time. Again, we have Neptune retrograde as well. So, Neptune retrograde definitely, it's going to retrograde into Pisces next month. And that is, right now even, it's going to make you feel more dreamy. And then when it enters into Pisces, even more. So, we are definitely in a dreamy time. I've been telling everyone that this is the last chance to work to like really solidify something that seems impossible. Neptune in Pisces is the impossible dream. It's probably been hundreds of years since Saturn has been with Neptune at exactly the same time. It's a little bit of a blessing. If we just had Neptune and Pisces, we probably wouldn't be able to accomplish the impossible dream. With Saturn there, it's like if you do the work, you can have it. So I have been begging people to try to do something that seems hard or that seems impossible. And of course, again, we're not talking about hard as in you're going to burn out or that you're going to get injured or something like that. We're talking about just something that is going to help you exceed your own expectations for life. And now is the time to like get started on that. And again, I always say, the beautiful thing is you don't have to be perfect and you can start very, very small, right? As long as you get started, like now. And, that's all that matters. With the Nine of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, get started, basically. Knight of Pentacles is the only knight in the tarot that isn't making a move. He needs to plant seeds in that field behind him and they will grow. So I feel it would be a good time for you to like start planting seeds and to take action. With the Four of Wands, you have the Strength card. Yeah, I feel you've been very patient. I mean, you've been patient since like 2016. I talk about this with you all the time. It's like you're similar to Sagittarius in some ways. It's like I think you two have had some challenges more, than maybe everybody else, but like in specific areas. And the Strength card, I kind of get this feeling that with the Star and some of this other stuff, that you are going to see that the strength that you have had to develop is worth it. This is a display of strength. She is showing people how strong she is. And so I feel a lot of it's like you're getting credit, right? It's like the universe is giving you credit for your strength. With the Knight of Cups, here you go. You have the Seven of Cups, the dream, right? He's dreaming of all the good things and bad things that could happen with his dream. But, I always say the trick with this card is to bring it down to earth, to take that first step. So, this reading is all about your dreams or a dream. Next, we're going to look at what you don't see coming this week. Here you go. You have this North Node card. It says step out of your comfort zone. Yes, basically everything we talked about. Like I said, you exceeding your own expectations for life would be you stepping out of a comfort zone. You have this full moon in Cancer. It says personal issue reaches resolution. Yeah, I really feel these eclipses aren't bad. I feel like there have been some challenges, but at the same time, I do feel that this eclipse isn't as bad as some people are making it out to be, this Virgo eclipse. I do feel we could be solving issues or overcoming blocks in blockages, which obviously would be a good thing. You have the Two of Cups, the Three of Swords, and the King of Swords. I do feel for those of you that want love that, you could be overcoming a heartbreak or forgiving the past. And that could be leading, once, I think we can, we can say that we have healed and we can say that we have forgiven the past, but maybe we're still kind of holding on to it a little bit. It's like, this is it's over type of energy here. It's like you're finally releasing something. And of course, when you do that, then obviously a new connection can come in. So for those of you that want love, I feel there's a strong connection here. I also feel there's, this is my card of you and your higher self. So I feel that there could be a stronger connection between you and your higher self right now. And I would be paying attention to your dreams, like your night dreams, your daydreams, synchronicities, signs, symbols, all that stuff. Because it's probably your higher self communicating with you and, trying to guide you towards a focus with the Ace of Swords at the end. And that's what I would be focusing on with this card. I would even ask, like, sometimes I think we need to ask for help. Like, we need to say, universe, I need guidance. I need a sign, right? And so I would ask. You have the Three of Swords. Again, very common energy, especially with a Virgo eclipse, because a Virgo eclipse asks us to heal. Plus, we have the South Node Virgo, which asks us to heal. And I would do whatever you can. Like, I don't even think this has to be love here, Virgo. This could be forgiving yourself for things you feel like you didn't do. It could be that you are looking at certain blockages that you have. Like I've said to everybody, I think it's an amazing time to do any block work, like money blocks, health blocks, things like that. And there are a million videos on YouTube about how to remove blockages, right? Just pick one, watch it, and do it. That's all you have to do. But I would pick something to heal because you'll get the benefits of doing it, right? You have the King of Swords. I do feel this could be a new person, for sure, for those of you that want it. They could be a little hard to read. King of Swords is usually a little bit hard to read because they can be a little bit quiet. But I feel like you will find this is not a bad thing. The good thing about the King of Swords is the reason that they seem quiet is because they don't talk, they do. So instead of telling you what they're going to do, they just do it. There's no need to tell, right? And so, but it can be a little bit, it can seem mysterious at first. But once you realize, oh, this person just doesn't talk, they're not a bunch of hot air, they actually do what they say, then, it's not really that much of a problem. The other thing is, I feel like this could be you transforming. You could be becoming more kind of like you taking the lead in some areas of your life, and I feel that would be good. With the Two of Cups, you have the Hangman. Hangman is about seeing things from a new perspective, and you could be looking at love from a new perspective, or you could be, I kind of feel like some of you are seeing a person in a different light. So for some of you, I feel like you already know who this person is if you're attracting love, and obviously it would be a good thing. I also feel that this is like your higher self is trying to get you to look at things from a new perspective. Again, we have Uranus and Gemini. Uranus and Gemini is about looking at things all the way around. It's like, this is like the, front of my hand, this is back of my hand. It's like you could look at it from just those two perspectives, or you could look all the way around in between the fingers, all around it, right? And like I say that Uranus and Gemini is like a 3D scanner. There are a billion, if you look at my hand from this perspective, it's going to be different than over here. And like that goes for any position in the 3D that you could possibly imagine, right? So we have to be very flexible with Uranus and Gemini. And I do feel the Hangman is basically saying that. With the Three of Swords, you have the Five of Swords. This is like deep healing because we have the Star in the same row here. So if you're not healed, and again, there's not a criticism, Libra. Of course, we all heal in our own times, right? And like I said, it's an excellent time to focus on healing in the first place. So you're all different. You're all going to have to be honest with yourself, right? And if you need to heal, then I would pick something, like I said, and heal it. If you are healed, the Five of Swords can represent taking a risk again. So, it could be you taking a risk to have love again, or to put yourself out there again, or whatever the case may be. With the King of Swords, you have the King of Pentacles. Yep, very good. If this is love, I love the King of Pentacles. They can be a little bit boring, or they seem boring maybe sometimes, but really they're not. They can just sometimes be a little predictable, but at the same time, King of Pentacles is someone who's serious, like someone who really actually wants things to work, which is like half the battle, right? So definitely could be a good person for you. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this flexible card. We said that. I don't remember where I said that. Maybe on the Hangman. So definitely a good time to be flexible. You also have this message in a bottle card. So a lot of you, I think the message in a bottle card could be your higher self delivering, synchronicities, sign symbol synchronicities, messages. I would be paying attention to messages that you receive because that's what's going to lead to success. You have the Ace of Swords, the Nine of Cups, and the Hermit. The Ace of Swords is like your truth, which you are a Libra. You are the truth. And I feel that living your truth is going to be very important with the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords also is above the mountains, and the Ace of Swords being above these mountains here can represent overcoming an obstacle or a challenge. And yeah, I mean, the whole entire reading, basically, you have this card that says personal issue reaches resolution. So it's like you're overcoming some sort of obstacle or challenge here. You have the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is like wish fulfillment or, fulfillment in general. So I feel a lot of you, I would make a wish, especially in the good stuff. I don't normally say that with the Nine of Cups because the Nine of Cups is an action. We have to be in alignment with what we want to get it. But when it comes up in the good stuff or with the Star, which you also have the Star here, I definitely feel it's a good card for asking for something. The other thing is your energy, right? There's an alternative meaning to the Nine of Cups, which is that these 9 cups, like he is a barkeep, and he is the one that is deciding who to give those cups to, right? And I'm not just talking about love. I'm talking about time, effort, attention, work, effort, everything, right? And I feel it would be a good week. I would say longer. I would say until like March of next year. It would be a good time for you to like really, before you say yes to something or before you agree to things, to really make sure that you're giving to things that give back to you in a bigger way. And, to be very kind of like picky with your energy and to say no more, right? I think that would be a good thing for you, Libra. You already give too much probably anyway. I think for the most part, spiritual people, people that watch tarot content, stuff like that, are typically overgivers in the first place. And so, I feel it would be a good time to put yourself first. You have the Hermit. Again, Hermit has come up a lot. We have this eclipse in Virgo. It makes perfect sense to me that it would show up. The Hermit says you've been through the dark night of the soul. You're coming out the other side and you're shining your inner light. So I kind of feel you're getting to the end of a difficulty or a challenge, and that's really what the Hermit is saying. With the Ace of Swords, here you go. You have the Knight of Cups. Yes, someone could be admitting that they are interested in you. I feel it's a new person. So, I don't know. You're going to have to decide like whether you're healed or not here, Libra. And again, like I said, not a criticism at all. If you're not, that's perfectly fine, right? Maybe you just need to take some time or whatever. That's fine. But if you are, then this could be a message, a person who's communicating with you. So that looks good. Again, I would make your dream your focus for sure. Whatever your dream is. With the Nine of Cups, you have the Sun. Amazing. The Sun is the best card in the tarot. It makes the whole entire reading more positive. It kind of leads to happiness and joy. That's like the only thing I would focus on, honestly. Like I feel like there's people here. Yes, there's talk about how you use your energy. But I kind of feel the reading itself is just saying, focus on yourself. Like, make yourself happy at this time. With the Hermit, you have the Page of Swords. I thought you had the Page of Swords twice. I guess not. But the Page of Swords is curiosity. This is like, what if I take this risk? Like, that's the question that's popping into my head with that Page of Swords. So if you're thinking about, taking risks, making bigger moves in your life, I would do it because I feel it would be really good. You have this table. It says hard work ahead. Yes and no. You have the Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles, pre-Empress energy. The Empress does not work hard necessarily. She might, but like if she works hard on something, it's because she's getting, twice as much energy back from what she's doing, if that makes sense, right? So, and I said this at the beginning of the year that I thought 2025 would be a bad year for hard work. I feel it's a good year for efficient work. So that's what I would focus on with this card. You have this tankard. It says celebration, fun, and enjoyment. Yeah, all your readings, Libra, have something in them that always says you need to be enjoying yourself more or having fun or doing fun things. It's almost like your readings lately have been encouraging you to look on the bright side of life or to create it. Really, that's what I would say. I feel like Libra is creating the bright side of life. Like, you need to. And that's what I would do here. You have this broken ring. It says parting of the ways, either in romance or business. 3 of Swords, 5 of Swords. Again, some of you maybe have already gone through a breakup or a separation. I feel like it's like you're closing this cycle out with that 3 of Swords, 5 of Swords. That's really what the reading is saying to me. And again, the eclipse that we're having on Sunday on the 21st, before the week starts, is great for this. And again, eclipses can last for like 6 months. So you have plenty of time to heal, to close the cycle out, to let go of it, forgive it, whatever you need to do. That's what I would do there. You have this kite. It says vacation on it. Yes, I think everybody needs a freaking vacation at this point. So even if you can't go on a vacation, maybe you could do a staycation. Even if it's only 5 minutes a day, maybe you can go hide in a closet and meditate, whatever it is. I would give yourself some time. You have the scales card. It says keep your life in balance. The first card you had was balance. So balancing things out is going to be, you're Libra. I mean, you're very good at this. So that's what I would do. But this looks pretty good, Libra. I like it. Like I said, best reading I've done this week. This week has been a little bit sketchy, so I'll say that, but for most people. But looks good. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.